Alright, now we are ready to start sketching things with some sort of concepts that we've been building up to, because we now can see how we can move and stretch a graph. So if we have something like this, y equals 3x minus 5 squared plus 10. I'm just going to, where you should start by simply making a Cartesian plane very simple. Okay, it has not to be perfect. I'm just going to label that x. Alright. The first thing we should look at for these graphs is where has it been moved left and right. Well, we know from a couple lessons ago, this is moved to the right at 5. So that tells me where I should put a 0 somewhere. Somewhere to the left of 5. It doesn't have to be perfectly to scale. It's a sketch. It's just simply the idea. So we know this graph is somewhere moved to the left at 5. We can also know that it has been moved up, and I'm totally going to mess the scale, plus 10. And say this is where the graph has a vertex point. Now, that's the point where this whole thing hinges. It's also symmetrical around 5. The steepness from the last lesson, if you practice playing around, happens to say that this is positive. That means the graph is going to be going up. Okay, it's positive by default when we don't see a plus sign. And it's stretchy by 3. Now, all I really need to show is the fact that it goes up very quickly. And voila, there is a sketch. Labeling the point 5, 10 is really significant to this graph, and it goes up. That's it. Now, what happens when we get ones that go down? What if this graph was in fact a negative? Let me just play around with another idea of another possibility of an example where we say, okay, what if we had to draw y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4, hope we'd have, unless it's one of the assignment questions, squared, and then, let's just plus 3. Let's just do that. Okay, I would start simply by putting an x-axis. We always consider numbers of x we want to play with. There's x, there's the negative x's over here. All right. Well, this graph has been moved 4 units to the left, somewhere from 0. So you can just pick wherever you want. So negative 4 is important because the graph from 0 has been moved 4 units left. That tells me I can put a 0 anywhere to the right of this. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just bam, bam. There is where the 0 or the y-axis is going to be. There are the y values. Y. Negative 4. This thing has been moved. There's 4 left. So now it's over here somewhere. The graph is symmetrical about that, and I'll show you how you draw that. Plus 3. It's been moved up 3. And again, I'll mess with scale. Bam. Plus 3. So it means from 4, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. And there is the vertex point. That's important as a sketch. It shows me the left and the upness of it. Now we look at the direction. Oh, it's negative. That means the graph is heading down, because all the numbers are now going to be negated. Whatever was positive become negative. Now this is the stretch, or the vertical stretch, or the steepness. Now it's only half as high as it would normally be from the x-axis, which typically means it's going to be either a little wider looking, both in the up format or the down format. Okay, it looks a little bit wider than the normal one that looks very steep. Okay, so in this case, if it was going down like that, it's going to look a little bit wider. So I just showcase that by saying it looks a little bit down here. And ultimately, at this stage of the game, this is an important point at negative 4 plus 3. There it is. Yeah, it looks like the graph is going to be, this is going to be come into a consideration later, like where does it hit there? Because anytime it goes across an axis could be very important. Okay, later on we'll be worried about those, but right now, what does it look like? Just being able to mentally look at these digits here and have a visual sense of how to draw it. That's the introduction to this lesson.